everyone! Today I'm going to do a video talking about my favorite houseplants that I own, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. I thought that would be kind of a change from doing the houseplant tour since I've done a couple of those. I do have some new plants since I did my last houseplant tour, as you can probably see just from this wide shot. So I'm going to start with number 10. This is my Syndapsis. I want to say it's an exotica, but I'm not sure. All the Syndapsis varieties, a lot of them look kind of similar to me. I got this at Oakdale a couple months ago. It really wasn't vining when I got it like this. So it's grown pretty well, and I like plants that can grow pretty well in low light because this is just an east-facing window and not everything can sit by the window. So it's nice to have a few things that you can put a little bit further away. And I just love it. When you get it more in the sunlight, you can see more how the lighter parts are really silvery and they kind of like are iridescent almost in the light. And they're just really pretty. And this is a plant that you really don't want to water a lot, which is nice because it makes it pretty low maintenance as long as you're not an overwaterer or someone that's kind of hovering over your plants. But I have too many plants to really be that way, so I do like plants that don't need to be watered like a ton. So my number 9 is also a plant that I got more recently. I got this from Lowe's when Costa Farms started doing that trending tropicals thing that everyone was freaking out about and wanting all their different new plants. So this is the one that I really wanted. I'm sure a lot of you probably saw this begonia in the Jenna Marbles video, and this was like one of her favorites. So I think that's one of the reasons that it's gotten popular. But I mean also because it's just got these big leaves with the big polka dots on it. I've seen them for sale with the smaller polka dots, but I only wanted this particular one that has the larger polka dots because I just think it looks just so pretty. And the underside of the leaves, well, let me find a really dark one for you, have this really cool like burgundy. It does have some damage, a little bit, but I repotted with some systemic granules just to address any possible pest issues. I sprayed it with neem oil and I haven't seen a lot of new damage. I think it's doing pretty well, and it's putting out new leaves pretty much all the time. Every time I look at it, it's starting to get a new leaf somewhere. So I just love it. I think it's an awesome plant, and I've had better luck with this than the begonia escargot that I had. I would not recommend that. I cut it down to the soil because that one was just all brown, and then it got some sort of like fungus or webbing over the top of the soil, and at that point I was just like, I'm done with it. I'm not doing anything with it anymore. It was winter, so I couldn't even put it outside. Another plant that is an easier plant of a difficult variety is this Calathea lancifolia. So Calathea are difficult just in general. They have to be next to a humidifier pretty much, which this one is. But it tolerates underwatering pretty well. I don't think any Calathea is pretty happy being overwatered, but sometimes I wait way too long to water those and it doesn't react as violently as some other Calathea. It's got a little bit of browning, and that is just from times when I just waited too long to water it, but I've had it about a year and it's definitely grown. I haven't had to cut a lot of leaves off because of really bad damage or anything like that. Occasionally I will, like this one, I could probably cut off. Sometimes ones around the base I will cut off, but they don't end up getting sort of like this one. I had to cut a lot of leaves off and it got a little thinner. This is a little bit more of a difficult Calathea, but I still like it. But this is my favorite Calathea just because it's easier. So it's commonly called a rattlesnake Calathea, but it's also, the official name is a Calathea lancifolia. So I just like it. I think this, out of all the Calathea, really has like the darkest underside of the leaves too, which is really cool. I like that the leaves are so long. I just haven't really seen anything that looks like this. And it's cool. And I got it for $1 because I got it when I had a $10 coupon from Lowe's. So you can't beat that. It's one of my favorite houseplants, and I paid like $1.50 for it. And this is definitely not $1.50. This is my most expensive houseplant. I got this from Gabriella Plants when they were doing the pre-order for the Pink Princess Philodendron because it's in demand. It's a popular plant, so it can be kind of hard to get your hands on. They're going for like $150 now. I didn't have to pay that much. It was $60 with shipping, which is still really expensive for a 4-inch plant. I probably shouldn't have got it because it was that expensive, but I just wanted it. And it's getting a new leaf here. So it had these little spots on it when I got it. I'm not sure what those are, but I've been keeping an eye on it. I think it might have just been some physical damage or something. I haven't seen any signs of pests or anything. I'm gonna keep a close eye on it. I would say the main thing with these is definitely don't overwater it. I did lose one leaf that way. So just be careful of that, especially because, I mean, they do put out leaves fairly regularly, but I mean, especially if you have like a really pink leaf or something, you don't want to lose it just because you were overwatering it. So I bottom water it, but I don't let it sit in the water too long, just long enough to soak up the water. So another pink plant that I really like that is a little more low maintenance, a lot less expensive, is the Ficus elastica ruby. I got this one at Pike's, and this is just physical damage. I touched it when it wasn't done unfurling and it ripped, so when they're in the middle of unfurling, just don't mess with them, don't touch them. Like you can see here where it's starting to grow a new leaf, and they kind of unfurl very slowly. So when they're in the process of unfurling, just don't mess with them, don't touch them. And it's commonly known as a rubber tree, and I'm just excited for it to grow really tall this spring. Like I can't wait for it to like really grow super tall. And this is a plant that I got a year ago at Lowe's also, and this is the string of bananas, and this is one of my favorites. I mean, just for obvious reasons, because it grew so long in a year. When I first got it, it was right about here. Like it wasn't growing past the bottom of the pot when I first got it, and it's grown so long that it's about to be like in the wastebasket down here, because I haven't cut it at all since I got it. I just wanted to see how long it would get, and now it's down to here. I might put it on my porch in maybe May when it's really warm, just to let the top get a little bit more light, because it is hanging a little higher than it probably should, so it's not getting as much light as it probably should. So it might be nice to just have it on the porch for a while. And the porch is east facing, so I don't think it'll get too much light. I mean, it's a succulent, so it can handle definitely some light, but you don't want it to get burned either. And I also love my string of pearls. It doesn't grow as fast. I got this like a few weeks before I got my string of bananas, so you can see that it does grow a lot slower, but you really don't have to water this one at all. I think I water my string of bananas once a month. I water this one like every other month, pretty much. Maybe once a month. Well, no, even the summer I water it about every other month. And you kind of know when it needs to be watered when you look at the top, and the pearls are kind of like, they're like squished looking, like they look like they're drying up. They're kind of shriveled, I guess you could say. Right now they look pretty full. I watered them like a couple weeks ago, so it will need to be watered for a while. And that's nice, because it's kind of a pain to get them out of the hanging baskets to water them. So it's nice to have some hanging plants that don't need to be watered as much, because it is a little bit more work to get them out of these baskets than it is just to get something like that out to water it. And another plant that I really love is my peperomia. It's a variegated obtusifolia, and I have two. I have another one, but this one has grown a lot more quickly. I got this one at the Campbell's greenhouse, and I just love like the marbling on it. It's just so pretty. Like every leaf looks different, and it's just really easy. Like I'm probably gonna have to move it up to a little bit of a bigger pot soon, because it is drying out to the point where I have to water it a decent amount, which usually peperomia you don't. So I probably repot it in a bigger pot pretty soon, like now even. But yeah, I just love this peperomia. It's just super easy. The watermelon ones are really popular, but I found them to be a lot more difficult. So I just love this because it's easy. It's growing really tall. I love the variegation on it. Like I just love this, like this leaf in particular. Like it's just so pretty. It's just perfect. I love it. So another plant that is pretty easy and really pretty is this philodendron lemon lime. Look at that. I just gave it a haircut because its longest vine was actually like reaching down and touching the top of this peperomia, so you can kind of get a visual for how long it was. And I adjusted it with this hook up here to hang a little bit lower so that the top could get a little bit more light. I don't know if you can see with the light that we have now because it's kind of low light right now. It's cloudy. But the top leaves are a little darker than the leaves down here, so I figured it just needed to be hanging a little lower. So I made that adjustment for it. And I just love this one because it grows a lot of leaves very quickly. Like right here, it's growing 2 leaves. This is the vine that I cut. Right there, you can see where I cut it. And that is the cutting that I took from it right here. So the one with that kind of pinkish stem, that is from the lemon lime. I have a cutting in there from my pothos and a few other plants, but yeah, I just love that one. I got this one at Trader Joe's. It was sitting outside Trader Joe's. I just bought it on an instinct. I think it was maybe about that long when I got it. It wasn't long at all. It wasn't trailing much, and it's just grown so much since then. I got it over the summer, so it's grown really fast. And I find philodendron, like trailing philodendron, actually be easier than pothos. I don't know why. I just find pothos to be harder. I find the philodendron to be just easy, and to me they look prettier, like their growth pattern. I like the way that they grow better. They almost grow like in kind of like a sheath, like they're just so pretty. I just love a trailing philodendron. And my favorite houseplants, just in general, are orchids. But this is the first orchid that I got a year ago at Lowe's. And it's in full bloom again. So it was blooming off of, I got one of the flower spikes here, but this one is still there. But it was in full bloom on those when I first got it a year ago. And I had it sitting in the windowsill here once all the flowers fell off, because I just like to look at them when they have the flowers, but they'll still get good light and everything in the window. And then one day I took it out to water it and had these new flower spikes, and it was just exciting waiting for it to get the buds. And then one day I happened to see through the window that it had flowers, so I put it back out on display. So a year from when I got it, it's in full bloom again. And sometimes people say when they get like these secondary spikes off the first spikes that the flowers aren't as big, but I mean, these are really nice flowers. Like, I'm glad I didn't cut the spike all the way down like some people say to. I wouldn't do that unless the spike actually gets brown. Just leave it, because I mean, these secondary spikes grow quicker and you get beautiful flowers like that, so why wouldn't you do that? And I have another orchid that I got from Campbell's, and this color is really pretty. It was in full bloom when I got it in December, but these buds, for whatever reason, they just never bloomed, so this one is in bloom now, and I'll get flowers off of those 2 buds soon, and that just means that I can have flowers for longer. So I just love orchids. I have 3, you saw that. I have that one in the windowsill that's not in full bloom. So just orchids in general are my favorite plants, my favorite houseplants that I own. But this one has a special place in my heart here just because it was my first one that really got me into houseplants. But I really like my other 2 too because I got them from Campbell's, and I just love Campbell's Nursery. I would definitely check them out. So that's pretty much it. Those are my favorite houseplants. I'll kind of pan out here so you can see all these guys. So I thought my next plant idea would be doing a video kind of telling you about the most difficult houseplants I have and the easiest houseplants I have, just to give you an idea of ones that you might want to get first if you're trying houseplants, and ones you might want to wait on until you have a little bit more experience. So that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.